we're pulled in so many different directions. You can kind of drive yourself nuts. Figure out the one thing you're going to focus on for the next 6 or 12 months. And I think one of the things that made us successful from the early days is we were very stringent about figuring out the few key things that only Mike and I could do. If I was bogged down answering every email, answering the phone, taking out the trash, posting our social media, if I was responsible for that, I would not be able to have the business that we have today and focus on the higher level tasks that move the needle and really help people and make the impact in people's lives.
This is the Reinforce Your Gym podcast with your host, Dustin Vogel. This show is about arming gym owners with the tools, strategies, and lessons they need to take their business to the next level. That way, they can make a greater impact in their community. Now, let's get to work and reinforce your gym.
Welcome, guys, for another great episode of the Reinforce Your Gym podcast. I got a special guest that I'm very excited to introduce to you guys, but somebody that I even want to learn more about their story. She's a gym owner, and what's cool is it's not like traditional gyms. In fact, she's got a franchise, and we're going to dive into that, and that way you guys can learn from her lessons and her growth. So joining me today is Paige Wilcox with Wilcox Wellness Fitness, right? WWF.
Wilcox Wellness and Fitness. That's right.
Go.
Thank you so much, Dustin. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you too. So before we get into it, let's put you on the map. Where are you located? Where's your gyms located?
Our location is in Bangor, Maine, and then our first franchise location is in Brunswick, Maine.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into your interesting and unique story. So what I like to start is how you got into fitness, and then how'd you get into business? Because those are usually sometimes the same story or sometimes they're a different story. So
very different stories. So I always knew I was going to be a business owner. I since I was a little girl, I knew that I was going to be a business owner. I grew up in a really small town. I graduated high school with 18 kids, to give you an idea of how small that was. But it was a town where a lot of my family members owned businesses. So I always knew that I wanted to own my own business. That was going to be my path. And I always knew that I wanted to make the world a better place. And that sounds really cheesy, but I absolutely mean it. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So I went to business school, and this actually leads into how I got into fitness. And my senior year in my undergraduate degree, a teacher randomly, who I didn't know very well, asked to see me after class. And I was like, geez, what could she want to talk about? I was a very good student. I was on academic scholarship. I was not and I thought she was trying to talk to me about a paper that I had written about how I should have included the service of personal training in that. And I need to do a revision. But really, she was trying to set me up on a blind date with her personal trainer, which horrified me. Horrified me. She ended the conversation can I give him your number? And I basically said yes and ran away and hid from her for 3 months. So that was my husband's client, and she literally hunted us down for 3 months trying to get us to go out on this blind date. My husband, Mike, who I own the business with now, was lying to her, telling her that he had called me when in fact he had not. So she was still asking to see me after class and asking why I hadn't called him back. And finally, she sent an email to him and copied me and said, I don't understand what the problem is. Is transportation an issue? Do you want me to set up a formal introduction? And I was like, no, it's fine. I'll call him. We went out on a blind date, and that's history.
Where did that persistence come from? Why could she see that this was a match that she was so persistent about it?
Do you really want to go deep down onto this story? Because that's what I thought too. So we met, and that was it. From the time that we met, that was it for us. We knew we were going to be together for the rest of our lives, and he's my best friend. But I don't know. I didn't even know her that well. He didn't even really know her that well. She was a client. And after we got engaged, we invited her out for dinner with us, and we were like, why us? What made you do it? And she gave us an answer that I didn't really accept, but I was like, maybe she's saving it for like a speech at the wedding. So we invited her to our wedding. And she gave a speech, and it was the worst speech. I hope she's not listening to this, but it was the worst speech in the history of all wedding speeches. She was basically like, well, he was single and she was single, so I thought that'd be a good match.
Yeah, we're waiting for like higher power intervention. I saw these two as a match made in heaven.
Exactly.
That was
And then years down the line, when I was working a different job, I was paired up for like a sales conference with like the person I was supposed to share a room with, like, was sick last minute, and I was paired up with a woman who is deeply religious, which is amazing. And so I told her the same story, and she was like, "It was God," and I was like, "What?" I mean, I believe in God and a higher power, but she was like, "No, it was God." Like that's why she couldn't explain to you.
Yeah,
So
I love that. Okay.
that's really too long of a story.
No,
You can
that's
edit
great.
most of that out, but that's how I got into fitness, and that's how I got into business.
So like now, let's go into the business side of things. Did he already have a gym open, or was he doing like 1099 training somewhere else? And then
Yeah.
how did that all start at the gym?
Yeah, he was a 1099 personal trainer. I was in finishing my undergraduate degree. I graduated, then I got my master's degree in business. I was working in the biotech industry in sales, and I was like pushing him like we were dating. I was like, "You got to have your own thing. You got to do your own thing." And he was just like, don't want like like he was not into it. But he took a little field trip one day at my encouragement and saw like somebody else that had gone out on their own, opened a small group personal training facility, and was kind of like, okay, maybe I could do this too. But to Mike's credit, like he ran the business, he opened the business by himself. He ran it. He did all of the things for the first 3 years in the history of our business. I was still working full-time, traveling a lot for work. The plan was for me to come on board full-time in the business at year 5 because, like, I'm a business nerd. Like, most small businesses fail by year 5. I thought I was going to be in the clear. No, I'm just kidding. But by the 3-year mark, like, things were going really well. He was doing everything. It was primarily working off of word of mouth. And he said to me, like, either I'm going to hire somebody or you're coming on board right now. And I was like, all right. And it was the best decision that I ever made. Like, I was absolutely terrified. I was leaving like a very good career that I was building that I enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed that kind of work. But it was the best thing that I ever could have done for us and myself. Like, being in the health and fitness industry, like everybody has so many ideas about what it is, but it's really about changing people's lives. Like, move better, they feel better, they eat better, and like the ripple effect that causes, not only in that person's life, but in the life of their family and everybody they touch, is just, I mean, incredible. And that's what fires me up.
Yeah, it's really like the highest version of you, right? We can go through life, and I almost say it's like wearing beer goggles where it's fuzzy and you don't feel like yourself and you're stumbling. And then you put on like HD 1080 glasses and you have this like super clear vision. And that's like the difference is when you feel your best, you're like Superman or Superwoman, and you're just a better version of you. Got more energy and more confident. You know, you're willing to take more risks because you have, that confidence in yourself. And when you don't, that's where you're kind of a little bit more timid and you're kind of like shy and sheepish. And both of them you're living, but you're not living life to its maximum. When you're healthy, that's when you feel like I'm really living. I have a vibrant life, So I totally feel you on that.
And that's what fires me up.
Yeah. So you guys, double whammy for this teacher. Not only you guys meant to be married, but now you're meant to go into business together.
Exactly.
Like, put her as the matchmaker of the year. So like now you get into the business. What is it that you take on? Because again, sounds like from your background, more sales, not necessarily training. I'm assuming that's what you're owning when you come in, right?
Yeah. I will never forget day one. Like, I got my file folders and I'm like, here I am. What am I going to do? I had no idea. And if you want to talk about imposter syndrome, I'm like, now I'm supposed to talk to people about health and fitness. Like, what do I know about health and fitness? Like, it took some time. And like, as a young married couple with a new baby, like, it took a lot of figuring out, like, what his lane was going to be, what my lane was going to be, what the direction of the business was going to be, how we would work together, how we would talk about something other than the business in our free time. But really, as I was finding my way, the first thing that I started with was like systems and processes. And I still feel like that's something that I love, I'm passionate about creating like an SOP for everything so that there's a standardized experience. In the early days, I worked a lot on getting like automations up and running. We were on the Infusionsoft platform at the time. So that was a lot to learn, a lot to create. And once I found my groove, like 2-3 years in, I had kind of like written myself out of a job. Like I wrote the systems, the processes, lots of things were automated, and then there wasn't really, much for me to do. We were kind of looking for the next thing that we wanted to do. Things were going really well. There was a local program, a local business program called the Top Gun program, and it took like high potential, high growth businesses and helped them find their next level. So we did this Top Gun program, which was awesome for about a year. And with one question, like, what's next for us? And for Mike and I, like, it's really about creating impact. Like we talked about changing lives, changing communities, like helping people feel better, and doing that through health and fitness. So we took a look at franchising, we took a look at licensing, and we took a look at like another company owned like location. Franchising was what we chose. Like, it's probably the most complicated option we could have chosen. Like, I'm not the one that's ever going to take the simple route. But it's amazing because, you're able to really support another local entrepreneur on their entrepreneurship journey and create a positive impact in another community as well. So all of 2017, I wrote the franchise disclosure document, which I'm sure you've seen. Like, those are like 6 inches thick. Like, this business brain loved that challenge. We had our second baby, Brooklyn. Like, literally, I was having contractions as we were with my lawyer. We were finalizing the FDD. Sold our first franchise location. They're amazing. Allison is the woman that runs that in Brunswick, Maine, at the end of 2018, and they opened their doors in January of 2019.
Nice. Okay. So they've been
Yeah.
around for a while now. And
Yeah.
so that, I think, is proof of concept that it wasn't just the one that the owner has the magic on is always have an unfair advantage. Of course, it has owner magic. But when you then hand over your playbook to, a franchisee and they then do it, now you got some lightning in the bottle and it's been proven. And they've outlasted that 5-year.
And they went through COVID. So they got like their initial year under the belt and then COVID hit. And I couldn't be more proud of the team in Brunswick, Allison, and like our business for being able. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, it was not easy. It was none of it was fun.
Yes.
But we did it and we got through it. And I believe we have such a stronger business on the other side of it. I really do. I feel like everything happens for us instead of to us. And I really think that COVID happened for us to become stronger, to be able to kind of pull back before we're able to shoot forward.
Yes. Stress test the systems, get really clear on your avatar, get your pricing right, like all these challenges. And so that's what I want to dive into is like, if somebody were looking to open a new gym and they want to take a look at, yours, it's, Wilcox Wellness and Fitness. What is the, service delivery? What kind of like service is it that you guys, offer? Who's a good candidate if you guys decide you're ready? Because I know, again, you're very selective. Who is, the right candidate out there if that was something someone was interested in?
So we're a personal training facility. We offer private and group personal training. The clientele that we work with are busy professionals, so older adults over the age of 45. They're amazing people. They've been successful in so many other areas and aspects of their life, and they've kind of put off their health and fitness, and now they're starting to feel the aches and the pains that are associated with aging. And our training program, which really Mike can speak to, not me so much, but really is designed and engineered to help people feel better, reduce that joint pain, and really just be able to live their lives to the fullest. Dustin's putting me on the spot for the franchisee right now because this is my homework assignment as his coaching client. And I'd say, like, I just really would love to support another franchisee who is really inspired by the mission to help people live their best life by forming healthy habits that they can sustain for the rest of their life. There's nothing easy about being a gym owner. And you've got to love what you do. Like, I don't know how you find that, but like, you just have to love it. Like, I've been back to back in meetings all day with people, and one of my trainers was like, "You must be exhausted, like sitting in meetings all day." And I'm like, "No, this is what I love." Like, it's just like changing people's lives and like convincing them to invest in themselves. Cause I know a year from now, they're going to remember some of the things that I said, and it's changing the overall trajectory of their life.
Yeah. On the disc profile, I'm probably guessing you rank really high as an I, and you get energy of talking to people. And so like, yeah, trainers sometimes might lean a little bit more towards introvert where like it drains them to talk to people. And that's okay. We got to find what we love to do. But what I would like to just highlight here, a couple things. Number one, the fact that you don't have this extensive training background. I mean, you're smart, you know it, but you know just enough to be dangerous to go out and sell it. And I think to a lot of gym owners, they're afraid to release sales to someone who doesn't know fitness.
Yeah.
That's a mindset block. You just need to know enough about the program. At the end of the day, you need to have energy, which you obviously bring. Like, they will read your energy. You're excited. That makes me excited. And that's why I think, again, you're looking for someone who actually cares, because you know that will translate into how you lead the team, how you sell the program. Like, it translates into everything. So it's like, hey, do they have that care and that energy? And then are they willing to listen to the pain points, right? And not like talk over the person and interrupt them. And they're like, well, it just sounds like I'm here to listen to you. You're not here to listen to me. If you bring energy and you could be a good active listener and take notes and actually repeat things back to people the way they say it. Oh my God, gym owners, like, you can release sales and give it to, you know, somebody else, so you don't have to be the one stuck doing it all the time, right?
Exactly. 1,000%.
So
Yes.
like with your growth pains of, you know, starting a franchise and then of course growing your own gym, let's go into some like major learning lessons. Like, and the more recent, the better. You know, of course, I'm sure there's some through COVID, but like we're 6 years past that. So that's why I try to say like, hey, what's more recent that is a pain point you've had, and how'd you solve it? And let's kind of help gym owners that might be having those same issues as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, live stream training sessions were our saving grace during COVID. Like, our family does a family adventure every year. So my husband and I and our two little kids, Brooklyn was 1 at the time, Hazen was 4. We were in Costa Rica when COVID hit, which was a whole other different, crazy experience. We had been there we were supposed to be there for 6 weeks, but had been there for like 2 weeks, and then like rumblings of COVID were starting to talk. But then like by week 3, March 13th, I remember being like, we had a client that worked for Angus King's office, and she'd called me and she's like, "Don't worry, shelter in place, you're fine. You're better in Costa Rica than you are here." And then I remember she called me like 2 days later. Mike and I were filming like an at-home workout thing because like we couldn't train in the gym anymore in Maine. So like in our Airbnb that wasn't air conditioned, in the middle, like sweaty, we're like trying to film this thing from Costa Rica. And she called in the middle of it and she's like, "Paige," I'll never forget this. Like, imagine having a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old in a third world country during this pandemic. She was like, "Paige, I know that 2 days ago I told you to shelter in place, but it doesn't matter what it costs. You get a plane ticket and you get home, or I can't help you." I was like, "Oh my God." So we had like 24 hours to like basically evacuate, and we got on one of the last planes coming home from Costa Rica. And I drove Mike crazy. Like, I'm like a chatter, like I have ideas. Like, Mike's always been the vision guy in our, like, which I respect so much, but he he processes more on the inside than he does on the outside, like I do. And I am just jibber jabbering to him that like 3 a.m. we buckle our kids in the car seat to like drive through the jungle to get to the airport. And I'm just we could do this, we could do that, we could do this, we could do that. You know, we could do online courses and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, cool it. We're going to do live stream training. And I was like, what? Like over Zoom. And so like we got home and I'm a little dramatic. Like I was convinced our family was going to like be down and out dead of the plague. I was like, we have to figure this out fast. It has to happen before like, cause we flew without masks. We didn't even have hand sanitizer. And we have to figure this out fast. We called an emergency team-wide, franchise-wide Zoom meeting. And Mike from our house led everybody through the first live stream training session. He was like, this is how we're going to do it. You have all day Sunday to practice and be the best Zoom coach you can be. And our team crushed it. We launched the next Monday with like 90 live stream training sessions on a weekly basis in both locations. So that's my long way of saying like that saved us, that got us through for a really long time, but it also was the thing that held us back, because now instead of being a brick and mortar gym when we were allowed to reopen with limitations, we were a brick and mortar gym, a live stream training gym, and an outdoor training gym. So instead of doing one thing and doing it really well, we were spreading ourselves really thin across 3 things, but trying to help people feel comfortable with whatever their level of comfort was. Some people wouldn't go inside. Some people would work outside. Some people wouldn't work on, you know what I mean? And we only just released our live stream training program January 1st of this year. And so it split our focus. So I think that's a big lesson, like understand who you are, understand who you serve, and only do that. And of course, COVID was a different thing, but like it was January 1st of 2025. Like, you know, we were back in person at that time.
And I think I see that with other gyms. They sometimes think new is better and that'll unlock some sort of secret revenue. When I add Pilates, when I add a kids program, when I add older adult, and it's like,
exactly,
you're just making your life harder because now these are more things you got to market and more programs you got to keep full. And then, you know, if it's completely different than what your main coaches can run, now you're staffing 2 businesses because this needs a specialty coach and this needs a regular. And so it's like, you're not actually going to see a giant gain. And I know that the idea fairy will trick you into that. And to the point, it's like we branched off minimal amount of time and then we brought it back into our core offer, what people actually come to us for. And we just want to be best in class in that. And I think that focus serves you guys really well, right?
Exactly.
Keep that focus dialed in.
Right.
Cool. Are there any others? Let's talk one more big kind of like hairy, ugly thing that you guys had to work through and then you were better for it on the other side. Again, I like share these pain points.
1000%. Okay. This
real
is
talk, right? Between gym
awful.
owners.
And like, this is still like a wound that is healing. So COVID, lost all that revenue, decided we needed to like do something to replace that revenue. I was a big fan of Amy Porterfield. I did her like digital course academy just because I enjoyed that stuff and I thought we'd have a course sometime. But during COVID, we launched a course called Own Your Health. And of course, it was like 2021, January. Like I was able to sell that course and that went really well. It was like a 12-week online program with pre-recorded sessions for me coaching on healthy living and then Mike for training. And that went really well. And then I was like, cool, well, maybe we will also do that. And so I invested in a coach. I paid $15,000 for a coach to help me launch this program. And their launch model was different. It was like sell for like low cost, like $27, sell a boot camp, an online 3-day boot camp, and then convert on the back end. I could not, to save my soul, sell a $27 boot camp. I couldn't. And it was like, it was such a bruise to my ego. Like I had spent $15,000 on this coaching program and then I couldn't sell a $27 boot camp. And I did everything. We were sinking money into ads. It was awful. But I also take that as a lesson from the universe. Like, I'm a brick and mortar training facility. I'm not a digital course creator. And that was like a very hard lesson to learn because, of course, like when you're the owner, you're the founder, and you like divert your focus away from your core thing, like that's not growing either. So I think that just re-cements the lesson, like go all in on the thing that you want to be great at. You don't even be great at it. Like if you go all in on the thing, you will be great at it because reps is what makes you great.
Hey, gym owners, let's face it, you probably don't love digital marketing. You probably don't want to go into Facebook and load the ad up and think of ad copy and creatives and optimize it daily. Well, hand that over to me and my team because we're geeks about marketing and we want to flood your gym with new members so you can change their life. Let us do what we do best. All right, go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call. Don't bring the credit card. It's not a hard pitch. It's just a conversation to see if we're a good fit. Talk soon. And I also love that it didn't burn you so bad that you said, I'll never invest in myself again. You see, there's these scam artists or people that are not a good fit. And I just say, hey, in any coaching, investment, as long as you pulled one thing from it, it was worth it. And sometimes it's not an ROI like we want money back for our money in. But like you grew your knowledge as an entrepreneur, you saw,
unlocked the world of Facebook advertisement because that was like a big component to that. So I've invested a lot in learning about Facebook advertising. I run all of our own ads and that's going really well. So 1,000%. Yes. It taught me how to like video and editing and like, yeah, it taught me a lot. And I don't think that it burned it just, I think the big lesson is go all in on the thing that you're great at.
Yeah. So what you got was not maybe ROI in terms of course sales, but you got it in skills. And so that's the silver lining. And that's where I say you're untouchable. If you like, I will learn something from this. I will never any investment be a failure. You can't lose, right? And that's the mindset that I try to have. I too spent countless dollars on things and not all of them have panned out like I wanted, but it made me become better at like when I do invest in the next thing, remember these mistakes from the last one. And then also there's probably something that I took, a skill, I got better at communication. Maybe I didn't communicate my expectations and now I will do better on the next one. Like something got better. So look at that. Like you did gain something from it, right?
And it's a redirect too. Like I think that had that been a mediocre launch, maybe it wasn't like all the way to my expectations, but it was okay-ish. I would have stuck in that game and like tried to make it better when really it was like kind of like a big slap in the face being like, no, Paige, this is the wrong direction. Like find a different path. And I'm thankful for that because things are like just on fire in our gym right now, which feels so good.
And I'm so glad you said that because that's exactly what I want to get into. Like now I want to be selfish and ask you for like 3 golden nuggets that are working right now. It could be marketing, it could be sales, systems, hiring, anything that you're like, oh my God, this thing is going so well right now. If you're a gym owner, you'd be a fool if you don't do some version of this. So what?
I jotted a couple down.
Cool.
So the first thing I would say to a gym owner is like, we're pulled in so many different directions. You can kind of drive yourself nuts by being like, I need to learn social media, I need to learn video, and I need to learn this, and I need to do that, and I need this certification, and I need all these things. Figure out the one thing you're going to focus on for the next like 6 or 12 months. And that's how I've approached it. Like we do need to be content creators. Like we do need to learn social media. We do need to learn lead nurture. We do need to learn these things. But if you try to learn them and figure them all out all at once, it's like chasing 2 rabbits. You're not gonna catch one. I've had periods of time where I'm like, all right, for the next 6 months, I'm focused on learning video. And that's been awesome for our business because I'm able to show older adults like what it looks like training in our facility because so many people are so nervous to join a gym. I've had periods in my business career where I'm just like focused on figuring out social media so that I can create a system around it so I can outsource it to somebody else so I don't have to touch it again. And most recently, which is how I found you, Dustin, about a year ago, May last year, I heard of this term lead nurture. And I was like, what is lead nurture? So for the last year, I've been working with gym reinforcements, learning a lead nurture process, which has been transformational to our business.
Love
I
it.
used to brag that like people would like look at our ads or like look at our videos on Facebook or be on our email list for like 6 years before they finally decide to get started with us. And I thought that was like cool. Like that's dumb. It's not cool. This investing in lead nurture and working with gym reinforcements has sped up that sales cycle so much faster than like I don't hear that anymore. Now a lead comes in, they are nurtured a little bit, they're booked for a call, I talk to them, most of them buy our front end offer. And that wouldn't have been possible without learning lead nurture and without working with gym reinforcements.
Well, thank
So
you. I
thank you.
appreciate that. And I'm glad that, again, you had that awareness to just focus on one thing, because we all want to change a million things in our business, but you're going to do a bunch of things an inch deep, or you can focus, and go a mile wide. Like that's good focus for you. So video, you called out that that's one that you spent a lot of time on so you can make your content better. Diving into lead nurture, like let's talk about mistakes that you see gym owners make. And it could be that you coached your own franchisee through this. It could be you hear other gym owners, you're in a lot of groups. Like, what are common mistakes? You're like, man, if you just change this, don't you know what it's going to do for your business? Like, does anything come to mind when I say that?
Yeah, that's so hard for me, honestly, because I'm like, I didn't grow up in the industry. And you know what I mean? I focus so hard on our business and what we are doing. I do think that the fitness industry gets a really bad reputation for like a small group of people.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I think maybe like not focusing on your client experience and like realizing that people are coming to you from so many different places, maybe not feeling very good about themselves. Like I know I've had an experience in my personal life. Like I was in my 20s. I wasn't even like older that I went to my first training session at like an LA Fitness. The trainer orientation just literally crushed me. Like I remember feeling like I needed to crawl out of there on my belly. Couldn't walk for days afterwards. And I think that oftentimes like in our industry there's the desire to flex. Like look at how cool this new piece of equipment is or this new fitness move that I can do is. And it's just not a really like sympathetic position towards somebody that you would want to serve.
Yes. I love that, because I think you got a couple different scenarios. You got like young trainers that are smashing adults senior to them 10 to 20 years, and they're not
Yeah.
aware of their physical abilities. It's like, hey,
Right.
man, you don't know this yet because you're 22. When you are 42, you will be tighter. You will take a little bit more time to get going. Like, I know you feel like Superman, and it's having awareness, right? And that's where, again, a good program like yours, you guys train up your coaches and make them aware, because most people, unfortunately, are not aware. And so mashing someone day one doesn't mean you're a great trainer. Anybody can do that. Actually, a good trainer is knowing the right amount of dose that person needs day one, and makes them excited to come back again. That's actually the sign of a good trainer, right? It's like, man, I love today, and you were so kind, and you modified for me, and you pushed me just the amount. And so it's like, I can't wait to see you in a couple of days, And so taking into account your advice, hey, owners, is your day one actually mapped out? Like, do you have an actual process? Like everybody experiences this on day one, or is it up to chance? And you're kind of risking your client experience and client conversions on that chance, where if it's the same way, like a recipe, like if I get my sandwich at the same restaurant, it's made the same way every time because they have an SOP for it. For some reason in coaching, we just say install a body and they'll figure it out. And then we wonder
Right.
why our business isn't growing, right? So
Yeah.
that's a good point, is client experience. Like that's at the end of the day, the product you sell, right? What you are actually charging money for is that experience.
Yeah. And then another thing that I see, not just gym owners, but all business owners, is like trying to do all the things. And I don't mean like many different lines of business. I mean, all of the tasks in their business. And I think one of the things that made us successful from the early days is we were very stringent about figuring out the few key things that only Mike and I could do and outsource the rest, which frees up so much capacity for Mike and I to be obsessed with our clients and with the client journey and with helping people like get the results that they come to us for. If I was bogged down answering every email, answering the phone, taking out the trash, posting our social media, I mean, I feel like at this phase in our business, I'm still responsible for the creation of the social media captions, posts, creatives, but I don't do the posting of it. If I was responsible for that, I would not be able to have the business that we have today and focus on the higher level tasks that move the needle and really help people and make the impact in people's lives.
Yeah, because it's addictive to like feel needed, right? Like there's a problem, we need you, owner, I'm to the rescue. And so you come in and it's like, man, I feel so good. I helped 20 things today, but like none of those drove the business. You were running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and you're actually just trained your team. You're the easy button. When there's a problem, press this button, the owner comes in and you don't have to deal with it. And
1,000%.
want to grow leaders, that you actually got to do the opposite. And so it's a matter of also your own personal space to think. Like you said, we're obsessed about our clients. If you have no free time on your calendar, when would you ever get around to that, right?
Yeah,
Learning.
exactly.
When could you sit down and read a book or listen to a podcast? You got no time. Your day's booked start to finish. And I think that that's a very good point, that a lot of owners wrongfully think getting a lot of stuff done grows the business. But I would challenge you, if you've been doing that for months and the business hasn't grown, it's probably time to try a new way, right?
Yeah, and I think the thing too, I think why some people get stuck doing that is because it's a lot safer to reply to emails than figure out how to do a face-to-camera Facebook ad or figure out something that makes you uncomfortable and pushes you outside of your comfort zone.
Now we're getting real.
But
I love it.
I mean, that's where the juice is. That's where like the fun is. That's where the growth is. That's how you're going to make a change for your business, for yourself, and for the clients that you serve.
There's so many times I see these little one-liners we serve up to fitness clients, and I'm like, gym owners need to follow this. And so we all say, come on, Mrs. Jones, the growth is outside your comfort zone. You need to be a little more uncomfortable in your workouts. But then it's like, hey, owner, you need to learn Facebook ads. You need to learn lead nurture. You need to learn how to make better content. Like, no, I'll just comfort's over here, answering emails, talking to my team when they need me. And so, Paige, what has your experience been like with gym reinforcements? Just curious for gym owners listening.
Yeah, so I found you guys because I was like trying to figure out lead nurture. Googling lead nurture. I was like, I don't even know what good lead nurture is. I'm not sure that there's even a book written on lead nurture or the best practices on lead nurture. And so your ads started coming up. And I scheduled a call with Kim and she explained to me kind of how it worked. And I was very skeptical. Like, I have formal sales training. Like, I worked in high-level business-to-business biotech sales for 9 years. I was like, I'm not sure I can let anybody else take over, like, calling my prospective clients. But the thing that I love so much about working with gym reinforcements is you guys get it. You understand the speed to lead. You have the Go High Level platform, which is completely transformed our business. I thought we were set up really well with Infusionsoft, but I had like 9 different softwares that were doing what Go High Level does for me now, which if you can imagine how complicated that is, like I honestly, when I got onto Go High Level, I was like, this is ridiculous how easy this is, how it just works without making you work for it. You've been incredibly flexible with the way that we use our lead nurture specialist. She supports every aspect of our sales process. She makes some phone calls, but she doesn't do any of the selling phone calls. I've still kept that. Our process is pretty defined, and I think people need to speak with somebody that has a lot of experience in the business. I'm confident she could handle those sales calls, but really what she does for me is like, I've had some pretty big launches recently where before my hair would be on fire. I would have like lists inside of Infusionsoft. I would have Post-it notes over here. I would have Facebook Messenger messages. I would have personal text messages. Like, I would just be a mess. And Mike would be like, are you going to be okay? But it like the last couple of giant launches that we've had for our Kickstart program, I've been so cool, calm, and collected because she's doing all the work behind the scenes to make sure that calls are booked, that when I call them, they answer. So literally all I have to do is call the person at the time that she set up for me. And if they happen to not answer, which they're answering a lot more frequently because of our lead nurture process, which is automated on the Go High Level platform, it's not a big deal. She's just rebooking and she's got like the next person for me to call during that 10-minute downtime. So we're a really good team. And I think that if you're interested in learning more about lead nurture, refining your sales process, and really accelerating the growth of your business, I think you absolutely should schedule a call to talk to Gym Reinforcements because it's been transformational to our business. And don't be like me. Don't be like, well, I do all the selling, and so I can't work with them because they're so flexible in the way that they help you.
Yes. Well, thank you. That's awesome. And it's our goal to be like your super sidekick, right? Like if she wants to be your Robin, like to your Batman. And so two gyms that we tend to see is like appointment setting, which is your model more. Like they'll just be your just badass setter. And then some owners are not like you. They're not sales driven. In fact, they're probably a little bit more like Mike. They'd rather just be coaching. And so they're like, can you guys just close everybody? Like, I trust you. You take care of it. I'll be over here leading the coaches and making sure that coaching is amazing. So those are probably the top two profiles we run into. So, you know, again, the like you said, the flexibility, because we know it's a custom job, each gym. There's no gym that's identical to the other.
And I think it's also being willing to like experiment and be like, okay, well, that didn't work great. Let's try the next thing. Until you're like constantly refining. But I think working with a partner like Gym Reinforcements, a partner that's willing to like see, okay, this works, this didn't work, instead of like, no, this is how we do it and it's going to work for you. And we've got to figure out how to make that process work for you. Let's define our own process together.
I love it. All right. Well, Paige, I guess we'll just wrap up with this, like with any parting words to a gym owner who's just in a tough spot. Like they're either breaking even, maybe like marginally profitable, and they really want to take it to the next level outside of course, you know, like something like exploring our thing, like something that they can control in their gym. Is there anything you would give advice, whether it's like a mindset pep talk or a big decision that can help them get out of that tough spot?
I would just say stay the course, focus on your mission and who you serve and what you love about what you do. And then I'll use Dustin's words that he uses to coach me, and I'll just say the best days come after the worst days. And you're in the hard time, and I've been there too. Like oftentimes you need to go through that hard spot in order to come out on the other side, and appreciate it so much more.
Love it. Love it. And thank you again for the kind words about Gym Reinforcements. We know it's like a very intimate thing to get into your business and to be touching your CRM and be texting, you know, your leads, and like there has to be a lot of trust. And I know you had very detailed systems built out. So it's a lot of trust. So again, that's how I take that as a compliment, that you trusted us to come in and do that and help out with that lead nurture. And, you know, again, you guys were obviously happy you got your franchisee on board. So first of all, this has been amazing. I love it. We are coming up on the end of time. So I want to like point people to where they can learn about you, your franchise. Where would be the best place to learn about that?
Yeah. Our website is wilcoxwellnessfitness.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. If you're interested in franchise opportunities, you can email me directly. My email is paige@wilcoxwellnessfitness.com. Or if you're just interested in talking about what it's like owning a business, if you're not a fitness buff, or what my experience has been, I love talking about business and I could talk about it all day long. And I just love this space.
Love it. All right. Well, Paige, thank you. This has been awesome. And I'm so excited for people to hear this. And again, if you guys want to get in touch with her, look her up on Facebook and Instagram. And if you guys enjoyed the episode, take a screenshot, tag us. We'd love to see your takeaways from today's episode. All right. See you guys next week.
Gym owners, I don't want you to have the reputation in town as the gym that doesn't call people back, all right? We know it's critical when someone's finally made a decision to get healthy and fit that we get to them as quickly as possible. This can be solved by plugging in our remote sales reps, okay? It's not AI, it's not a bot, it's a real human that's working on your leads, the new ones that come in from your ads and the old leads in your database. And they're there to qualify the leads, to ask them discovery questions and to make sure they're a good fit. And then their job is to move them forward in your sales process so that you get more members month over month. All right, if you want to learn about our remote sales reps, go ahead and go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call, and we'll tell you more about it. See you then.